Just to clarify, these are simply my personal favorite movies of the year. Movies that became available where I live in 2018. They're also in no specific order, and they obviously don't include movies I haven't seen yet. And with that out of the way, let's get into it. This is only Paddy Considine's second movie as writer-director, but he just knocked it out of the park with this one. He also stars in this, and it's about a boxer who's going through a bit of a rough patch. And it's easily one of the most gut-wrenching movies of the year. But it's not a bummer, it's actually more of a story of perseverance, and I loved it. This is Deborah Granik's first movie since Winter's Bone, and boy oh boy did she deliver. It's about this guy and his daughter and their quest to essentially find peace and happiness in a world that doesn't think the way they want to live is a viable way to live. I mean, Ben Foster and Thomasin McKenzie are great in this, and this is just a great movie all around. This one kinda came out of nowhere for me, but just blew me away. It's a dark comedy about a cop and his personal struggles. And it's written and directed by and stars Jim Cummings, a guy I'd never even heard about before. It's his first movie and it's hilarious, but also really touching when it needs to be. I love the balance between the two, and I think this was just a wonderful movie all around. This is an Italian movie about a famous case where a guy ended up dying in jail. And yeah, it's probably the most infuriating movie this year, but that's because of how well it was made. I mean, Alessandro Borghi's performance is just phenomenal. He really sells it, and it's a pretty brutal movie. But so well made, and it tells a really important story too, about a system that isn't working the way it's supposed to, and what the consequences of that might be. It's just a great movie. I went into this expecting a drama, but turns out it's this really wonderful, weird, dark comedy. Paul Schrader and Ethan Hawke really did something special with this one. It's a story about a priest in this tiny community, but the roads it goes down are just so unexpected. It plays it so straight too that early on I wasn't even sure it was funny on purpose. Until that last part that just went off the wall, and I loved it. This one's Corey Finley's first movie, and it's a bit of a strange one. It stars Olivia Cooke and Anya Taylor-Joy, which is probably why I watched it. And it's about how these characters, how do I put this, decide to deal with some of their issues in less than a legal manner. But it's not really the story itself, it's the characters and the performances that really pulled me in. Although the story is pretty intriguing too. I believe this was also one of Anton Yelchin's last performances, which is a shame, but he was also really good in this, so there's that. Another gut-wrencher. This time it's a Norwegian movie, and a bit of a companion piece to 22 July, the Paul Greengrass movie. It's about the terrorist attacks in Norway, by Anders Breivik. But this one takes a bit of a different approach, and it's set entirely on the island of Utøya, during the attack. It's shot in real time, there's barely any cuts, and it follows this one girl who just tries to get away. And let me tell you, it's one of the most intense movies I've ever seen. It's horrific, but at the same time a brilliant piece of filmmaking. A truly unique movie. This one's directed by Carlos Lopez Estrada, but it's written by David Diggs and Rafael Casal. And those two also play the two main characters, and everyone just does a fantastic job in this. It's about two guys living in Oakland, and one of them has 3 days left on his parole. So he's gotta stay out of trouble, which turns out to be a bit of a challenge. And I just loved everything about this movie. The writing, the characters, the acting, the way it was shot, the editing. Everything except that second to last scene that I've seen a lot of people praise, but I just didn't buy it. So all around great movie, not a strong finish. The sequel to a great movie that didn't need a sequel, done by a guy who didn't make the first movie. A recipe for disaster if I ever saw one, but truth be told, I like this more than the first one. It's just a really good action thriller with a lot of suspense, great writing and top-notch acting. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that Tyler Sheridan knows how to write an entertaining movie. Time and time again he just nails it, and this is no exception. And for the last one we have this movie that's been pretty much banned by everyone. I mean, no one really even saw it, but those that did, especially the critics, hated it. But I thought it was great, Especially the first half just blew my mind. It was so goddamn good on every level. The acting, the writing, the direction, just great. And the second half was really good too. Not nearly as good, but still really good. So those are my top 10 favorite movies of 2018. But how about a few honorable mentions? Hilarious and maybe the most sharply written movie of the year. I mean, just a beautiful and heartfelt animated movie. For some reason, I don't remember much about this one other than I liked it a lot. Simon Baker's feature-length debut about surfing, and it's great. I'm not crying, you're crying. Kelly MacDonald and Irfan Khan are great in this weird little movie about puzzles. On a technical level, how this was put together, mixing documentary with fiction, was really unique. A strange little Chinese time travel, rom-com, fantasy, sci-fi thing. It's fantastic. So much depth and complexity in this one, and the documentary about the making of it is great too. On paper I shouldn't like this one, but it's pretty damn good. So those are basically my favorite movies of 2018. And overall it wasn't a bad year for cinema. Pretty solid actually. The mainstream let me down once again, but that's not really a surprise anymore. And there's still a number of movies I haven't seen, so this list might still change. But hey, what movies did you see? What are your favorite movies of the year? Comment below. I'm really curious to see what people have enjoyed. And see you next year. Actually, this one comes out on January 1st, so I guess Happy New Year. Oh, and contrary to popular belief, I'm still not your dad.